Hello and welcome to North Country Matters. My name is Donna Seymour. I'm a member of the St. Lawrence County League of Women Voters, one of the civic partners for our show. Today, my guest is Carolyn White. Carolyn is the CEO of Grace House. She's here to talk to us about what they do, who they serve, and what their mission is. Carolyn, welcome to North Country Matters. You've been a part of Grace House since its founding in 2011. Can you tell us how you came to be part of this project?
Well, yes. I was getting ready to retire after 20 years at Canton Potsdam Hospital. And there was a group of five of us, including Pastor John Alt, who at that point was pastoring New Hope Community Church, and Pete Popeil, Bill Melchior, and Barry Schulz. And after coffee, or after church at coffee, we kept talking about meeting needs of those with addictive problems. And we talked, for a number of years and talked. And as I was getting ready to retire, the talks grew more intense. And finally, in November of 2011, we sat down and decided talking was done. We were going to incorporate, which we did. We still didn't know quite exactly what we were going to do, but eventually, over the next few months, it emerged that the need was on women in particular, and their need for a transitional type of housing in the area, because so many of our women were very reluctant to go to urban areas for halfway housing, because it meant that they were going to be too far away from their children for visitation. They had fear of the unknown going into an urban area. It was too far away. Yet on the other hand, if they went back to the living situation that they were coming out of, that was not healthy, because there was oftentimes abuse, oftentimes continuing using, and drug availability, alcohol availability. So that's what we started to focus on.
Well, so Grace House is really community-based action to provide real help for people who are finally ready to break the bonds of addiction and transition to a better future and be able to do it without having to leave the area. So let's talk a little bit about what the mission of Grace House is.
Well, our mission and vision statement, I guess, could be summarized as hoping that the women that come to us will change and recover and embrace life fully, and just expand to their full potential and reconnect, if it is at all possible and healthy, to family and certainly to the community. And we are faith-based, Christian faith-based, and we believe that part of that community is the church. And we believe that that's a very helpful and healthy agency in the community, and can be very supportive to women. And we encourage that among our women.
So you're really trying to positively counteract the effects of trauma in these women's lives, which have probably gone on for years in some cases up until this point in time.
Oh, sometimes abuse and trauma from the cradle, or I guess they use cribs these days. I'm letting on my age. Yes, I would say that 100% of the women that have come to Grace House, and there have been over 100 of them now, have experienced some degree or other of abuse and trauma. And I would just like to, well, I really must mention Renewal House and how helpful they have been to Grace House in our work, because they have over the past years provided an in-house group for us, an educational group to help our women come to terms with some of the things that have happened to them. They've been very, very kind and generous to us. And we do a number of things in the house to try to ameliorate the effects of trauma. But I will say that we do not provide at Grace House itself services. All the services are gotten in the community: addictions counseling, mental health counseling, certainly healthcare services. Um, but there are things that we do in the house to make it as trauma-free and provide trauma-informed care as possible. Our residence director, Christine, has had a number of trainings and seminars so that she can work with the women on very simple things to help them when anxiety takes over or intruding thoughts. Just simple things like deep breathing, calming thoughts, focusing on a certain object in the room that's pleasant, um, keeping calm atmosphere in the house, playing soothing, soft music, um, decorating for the holidays, which also helps because our women have missed a lot of that type of thing in their lives. Keeping conversation at a conversational level, no screaming and yelling.
Sort of
And
the
well,
things that many of us take for granted in our lives, these people
absolutely.
have very little experience of, do they? So, Carolyn, Grace House has just moved to Potsdam. Tell us about that move and how you acquired your new building, please.
Well, first of all, I'll tell you, I never want to see another full box of stuff as long as I live. And I'm sure poor Christine doesn't either. Um, Late in the fall of last year, the church council at Grace Episcopal Church, where we were living in the parsonage or rectory, came to us and said that they needed the rectory because they were calling a new priest because Father Smith had retired. And we were there through the grace of God, rent free from the time we opened. Oh, and after the ordeal of finding that, I thought, my God, we're going to be homeless again. Uh, we were we were stunned. I mean, they didn't say you've got to be out next week or anything. They realized it was you a large undertaking for us as well as it was for them. Um, but God has taken such good care of us throughout all of this. They say that a door never opens, but what another one opens. It was, I think, the next week after the vestry came to us with that news, that the heartbreaking news of Reach Out's dissolution hit the newspapers. And Karen Easter was one of the first people I met when I came back to the North Country in 1985. And of course, loved her from the first moment and was so impressed by the work that they were doing and really did do for almost 50 years. I served on their board for many years. The next day I called her and begged for the house because I knew that they were non-for-profit and we were non-for-profit. And in the process of that dissolution, they were going to have to do something with the non-for-profit to get rid of their assets. And of course, if anyone listening to this knows Karen, the next sentence out of her mouth was, well, I'll check with the board, but I don't see any reason why not. Oh, it was a miracle. It was a miracle. And she and her board sort of look upon it as kind of carrying on the message and the work of Reach Out. And it was just wonderful.
Well, you know what, you talked about how important Renewal House has been to you over the years, and then now you have a building thanks to Reach Out. These are organizations with deep roots in our community, and they have done caring work for literally generations. And so the fact that you are the inheritor of this house is kind of a perfect segue, isn't it, to be able to continue your work and also continue a lot of the work that Reach Out did over the years.
Yes, that's exactly how we look at it.
Yeah.
And Karen has been wonderfully supportive to us.
Well, there's not a more caring person in the St. Lawrence County area than her, and the work she's done over the years has made such a huge difference. So Grace House is actually a residency program, as you mentioned before, and it's based on the idea of co-living. So what are the strengths of that residency and how does it work?
Well, one of the strengths is that the women have living with them a residence director, Christine Doughton, as I mentioned before, who really has the education and the experience and the heart for this kind of work. She believes that it's her mission, and certainly from everything that I've seen over these years, it certainly is her mission. She does a wonderful job and is kind of like a mama bear to these women that have come through. She's been with us since 6 months after we opened, so she's really been there for the duration. And the benefits of community living, first of all, it goes right back to mutual support. That the self-help groups are based on. The women realize they're all basically in the same boat, so they're aiming for the same thing. They're aiming to get better and to get over what they're feeling and how they're feeling and get on to something better. And they're facing the same struggles, so they help themselves that way. Each of them has what we call an individualized service plan, where they set up, along with Christine, goals for themselves in certain areas of their life. And many of them articulate pretty much the same goals for themselves. So they kind of work on them together. They can, and it helps them see commonality in what their aspirations are. They learn, another benefit is that they learn or relearn things together. Working cooperatively to keep the house clean, to learn how to cook. Cornell Extension comes in once every other week and teaches a class in nutrition and trying to eat more healthy. To work out interpersonal, communal living also has its drawbacks because there's at sometimes 7 women under one roof, and not everyone's going to be seeing things the same way. And they learn how to work out their differences before they mushroom. And that's a very valuable learning experience that they can carry with them. Wow, I was going to say something else and it went right straight out of my
Well,
mind.
it sounds like what you create there is an extended family of people who come with different issues, they come with different strengths, different skills, and yet they can teach each other, they can support each other, and all work towards getting a handle on life again, which has probably not treated them very well over the years.
Life has not. And you're absolutely right. And it's amazing to watch them come out of themselves, and the ones who have been in the house longer help the newer ones and tell them and give them real support and tell them things will get better. This is a rough patch. I went through this. 2 weeks from now, it's going to be better.
And sometimes just hearing that other people have walked a mile in your shoes and walked out of that trouble successfully is just a huge a piece of encouragement. So, Carolyn, tell us how somebody gets a referral to Grace House. Are there criteria that you look for in a prospective resident to help ensure success for the program?
They can be referred, women can be referred in any number of ways. Most of our referrals come from inpatient rehabilitation units or other types of addiction programs, but they can self-refer. Families can refer them. Sometimes churches will make a referral. Probation has referred. Um, the one piece of documentation that we need is a biopsychosocial of some place where the woman has been treated in the past. It doesn't have to be the immediate past, but like they don't have to go door to door from a rehab to there, but someplace in the past. We need that paperwork because we need to have that information. Basically, what we look for in a woman is someone who's basically just sick and tired of being sick and tired and ready to throw in the towel and just say, I give up. I want to get better. I don't want to live this way anymore. And of course, be willing to live in a structured environment. We have the women go to bed at a certain time, they get up at a certain time. They take their medicine at a certain time. I mean, it's all prescribed, but we use the hospital hours 8, 2, and 8. They administer their own meds, but it's under supervision. They have to keep their appointments with their therapist and their doctors. We make appointments with a primary care physician when they come in. They have to go to outpatient therapy. Most of them need some kind of specialty care because they've let their health deteriorate. Dental care and vision care. It's amazing how one's body deteriorates when one doesn't really take care of it. And follow the rules of the house. We don't allow smoking or vaping. We don't allow romantic relationships, because that detracts from getting better.
So
AA
basically, what you're saying is that people come, it's a very structured program, and it is designed to break bad patterns of behavior and bad habits, create new patterns, and really give people the structure they need to get their life back on track. And we all know that structure is something that successful people are very good at. So this is something they need to practice and they need good examples for, isn't it?
Yes, and we have them read the handbook, which is on our website before they come. And Christine, when she does the pre-interview, when she's screening them for admission, asks them if they've read it and asks questions about it, and has them ask questions of her about it to make sure that they understand what they're getting into about the structure and the rules.
What is a typical number of people that are housed at the same time? Although they don't come in at the same time, they don't leave at the same time, but how many people are you able to accommodate?
We have 6 beds. We can
Okay.
have 6 women at one time.
Okay.
And there's usually about 4 there at a time.
Okay.
Sometimes we have a full house, sometimes we have 2, but
So,
4 is the average number.
okay. So how does Grace House function financially? How is it supported? And are there ways that people can help?
Oh, yes, there are ways that people can help. We are self-supporting. We raise all of our own funds. We're not supported by any governmental agencies or anything. There are a number of churches in the county and the area that have pledged to us. There are a number of individuals in the county and the surrounding area, the region, that have made pledges to us, and others, churches and individuals and organizations that send donations, not on a pledging basis, but on a sporadic basis. When I go to the mailbox, I take a deep breath, say a little prayer, and open the mailbox and look in every week and see what's there. God has been very good since the day we opened, and we opened with almost no money at all. We've always had food on the table, and the bills have always been paid.
Well, that
And
is
sometimes,
a great that is a great testament to the support of the community for, the work you
absolutely.
are doing for sure. So, like all community-based organizations, you rely on volunteers to help the staff to do this work. What do you look for in a volunteer?
Just somebody that's willing to give up of their time, and their talents and their efforts, who's reliable, and who has good boundaries. Because working in any kind of, health-related field, good boundaries are very necessary. And again, on our website, there's an application for becoming a volunteer or applying to be a volunteer. And there's a number of things that we have openings for, helping Christine, being a handy person, doing techie stuff so that our poor person on the board who does it can get some relief. Doing things with the women. Sometimes doing arts and crafts projects with the women if they have a special talent. Giving relief to Christine a few hours during the week so she can get out and get some free time. All sorts of things, maybe teaching a cooking class, or teaching them how to make banana bread,
So if you
any
have
number of
if you
things.
have a skill to teach and you would like to be involved in this, there will be an opening for anybody
Oh,
with a
absolutely.
skill to teach. So,
Yes.
you take people in crisis, Carolyn, and you help them turn their lives around. What has your success rate been?
Um, for those we admit, it's about a third, a third, a third. A third leave, mainly because they can't deal with the structure,
Mhm.
or they don't want to deal with the structure. Um, some of them leave because of that reason and keep in contact and do well. They're too free-spirited to live with structure. A third leave after a while because they need a different level of care. They either have physical limitations or need more intensive mental health or addictions treatment. For example, in a more traditional halfway house type of situation where there's more staff and more intensive treatment. And then the other third complete the program in what we call graduate. And those individuals go on and do quite well. We
So
have a number in the
if you
area.
can get people in and keep them in the program, they're going to be successful, which is the important message that we want to get across. Now, because you're in transition from the house in Canton to the house in Potsdam, how quickly will you be able to start taking residents here in the new Grace House?
We are hoping sincerely November 3rd.
So very close to now, actually, couple of weeks.
Yes, that's why I've got fingers and everything else crossed because the kitchen is pretty iffy at this point for us to get an operating certificate.
Well,
The,
you
bo-
have
the boxes will be empty.
the
I don't know
boxes will be emptied. Yes.
I don't know if the
Anybody
kitchen will
who's
be
ever
finished.
moved has gone through that process. So I know what you're talking about. That's for sure. So really, the kind of work that you're doing is not being duplicated by any other agency in this county, is it?
No,
No.
nor in nor in any of the, I don't believe in any of the counties above the Thruway.
Okay. Okay, so you
There
really
are,
are offering a unique opportunity here for people who are ready to transition into a better life.
there is a traditional women's halfway house in Jefferson County in Watertown. Um, and there is a place, there's a house in Plattsburgh where women in early recovery can go and work. Not all of our women are able to work, though after 30 days of residency, we encourage them to either go back for their GED or do other kinds of educational pursuits. Or if they don't have any work skills at all, do volunteer work, or if they have educational skills, work part-time starting at 20 hours a week, until they can handle more. But we really are unique.
Yeah, and of course, what you're talking about here is also not only getting them where they can do things, but reconnecting to the community as well, whether it's through education or through volunteering or through work. So, and those are really important parts of leading a satisfactory and a wholesome life.
Yes, we believe work is healthy.
And so is volunteering, as you well know. So thank you, Carolyn, for coming in today and talking about this. It's always important to learn about these sort of hidden treasures in the county and in the North Country, because I bet a lot of people aren't very familiar with Grace House, and unless maybe they've had a family member or they've gone through it themselves. So I'm glad we can kind of shine a light on the work you're doing. I'll certainly put your contact information and your website in our show notes, and then people who are interested in maybe volunteering or donating or have some a skill to share can get a hold of you, because it won't be long before you'll be up and running in your new location on Cedar Street in Potsdam.
Right, I would appreciate that very much. And I'd
Well,
just like to say that some people don't like to donate money, but we also accept uh in-kind things like food and paper towels and toilet paper and uh laundry detergent and things like that.
all of the
We do,
necessities of life.
yes, we do. We don't have the space to accept clothing, however.
Okay.
We cannot accept clothing. And when we need it, the thrift stores have been wonderfully kind to us.
Yeah, we have some great resources in this community, and
Oh, we
I
do.
and it's great to learn about your organization and the work you do, and I hope this helps get the word out, and more people will know about you and the and your new location here on Cedar Street in Potsdam.
Oh, I so appreciate today. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. So these conversations are a production of North Country Matters. This show is a civic collaboration between the League of Women Voters of St. Lawrence County and the Potsdam Public Library. Until next time, remember, our North Country matters.